Welcome to the final segment of DermTV Viewer Questions Week for June 2013. Today's episode will feature questions from DermTV YouTube viewers and DermTV.com viewers. Hello, I'm Dr. Neil Schultz, and welcome to DermTV. Today's first question comes from YouTube viewer Oso Orels on the episode How to Treat and Prevent Ingrown Hairs. Will nair or chemical hair removal creams give you ingrowns? Fortunately, they don't. It's a really great way for hair removal to avoid ingrowns, and the very nature of the chemical destruction of the hair, which can be gentle and not irritate your skin, precludes having a sharp edge on the hair so it won't ingrow. Great technique. Phoenix Wings asks, how to properly apply sunscreen? I'm a little confused because my sunblock says water resistant for up to 80 minutes. So if I'm swimming, does that mean I need to apply my sunblock at least every 80 minutes? Even though the SPF is 30 and protection lasts up to 5 hours, does it all wash off after 80 minutes? Phoenix Wings, the SPF of 30 is 30 times how long it would otherwise take for you to burn without water, without wind, without sweat. Has nothing to do with what happens if you're in water splashing around. So when it says water resistant for up to 80 minutes, that means that at 80 minutes they expect most of the protection to be gone, and you therefore do need to reapply it. You cannot count on the SPF of 30 to give you protection of 30-fold when you're in water. That's why they have these new regulations to make sure that you do get adequate protection and you know when your protection is going to be waning or disappearing. Manfred Oxyz about should you use retin for anti-aging? Nothing works better on my nose than retin. I think because my nose is quite oily. But glycolic works much better for the rest of my face. Is it possible to use both on the separate areas? You know, with all the episodes I've done about exfoliation and different exfoliations and glycolics and retinoids, I've never addressed this question. So I'm so happy that you've asked it. And the answer is a resounding yes. You can use different exfoliants in different areas of your face at the same time, as long as you're not using multiple exfoliants in the same area. And Lola Hart on how to get the most from your cleanser and toner. Is it okay if I apply my toner using my bare hands instead of using the cotton pad? My mom told me if I use my hands instead, I'll get more of the product. Lola Hart, that's exactly why I say don't use a round cotton ball. If you do, you'll be wasting so much toner in the cotton ball. But with a very thin makeup remover pad, you really don't put that much on it. And I'll bet you that if you're squirting it into your palm, you're going to wind up using more in your palm because some of it's going to run off, run between your fingers. I'll bet you use more than you do on a thin cotton makeup pad. And in addition to the fact you'll probably use less, I think the cotton makeup pad is probably even better at removing the residual oil, dirt, debris, and so on, and maybe even cleanser that the toner is being used for. Today's first question from a DermTV.com viewer comes from Annie, and she says, I wear Cetaphil Daily Moisturizer with SPF 50, but on the back it says, does not protect against skin cancer or premature aging. Should I be concerned? Absolutely. That's part of the new labeling. And that means that there's not adequate UVA protection or broad spectrum protection. And don't forget, it's those UVA waves that contribute towards premature aging of your skin and skin cancer. So according to the new labeling, if you don't have adequate protection, it has to say that it doesn't protect against skin cancer or premature aging. And the answer to your question as to whether or not you should get a different sunscreen, you bet you should, because you need protection from both UVB, which here is 50 plus, as well as UVA. Mike asks, I've had a mole removed by an excision with stitches. It's still red, has a small divot in it. It's been 3 months. I'd like it to look better. I wanted to know how long does it take for it to look good to the point where it looks like nothing happened in the area. Mike, it'll never look like nothing happened in the area if you've had something cut out and had stitches put in. There has to be a small mark. But at 3 months, there probably shouldn't be much of a divot. You could have some pinkness at 3 months, but not a divot. You will continue to get healing for up to 6 months. But with a divot at 3 months, I think it's time for you to go back to your doctor and ask, is it healing okay, and does anything else need to be done? There was a follow-up question about, will the redness ever go away completely? It certainly will. Will the epidermis fill in completely? It may not. And that's why I'm a little bit concerned about a divot at 3 months. So check back with your doctor. Felipe says, what would be the best concentration of glycolic acid in a facial cleanser for daily use? Felipe, I don't really believe in glycolic cleansers because I don't think you have the cleanser on your face long enough to have enough contact time for the glycolic to be effective. So that's why I don't really recommend glycolic cleansers. I don't have any in my line. And if you like the cleanser that you have, and you like the way it feels leaves your face feeling, and has glycolic in it, that's fine. But don't depend on the glycolic to be an active ingredient. Just enjoy the surfactants and the other ingredients in it, which is really what's making your face feel the way it does, getting the oil, dirt, and debris off, and that's why you're enjoying that cleanser. Today's last question comes from Valerie, and she asks, in one of your previous videos, you talked about how sunscreen is ineffective unless applying it on the skin first. Will applying other products on top of sunscreen, such as an acne treatment, make these other products ineffective, meaning make the sunscreen ineffective? Well, if you put your sunscreen on first, as you should, and you let it dry and set, and you then put a second product on top of it, it really depends on what that second product is as to whether or not it's going to affect the sunscreen. So for instance, you've put your sunscreen on, then you take your glycolic pad or a toner pad, and you wipe it vigorously all over your face. I'm afraid you're going to wipe off your sunscreen. On the other hand, if you take an acne spot treatment and just touch it to your skin, or you take some moisturizer and put a dab in your palm and then dab it all over your face and very gently spread it around after your sunscreen has dried and set, it probably won't interfere with that sunscreen. So sunscreen always first. If you want to be absolutely certain, no products on top of sunscreen. If you'd like to put a product on top of your sunscreen, then just put on small amounts and be very gentle and make sure it's not too liquidy so it can't dissolve your sunscreen. So that's it for this month's Viewer Questions Week. And don't forget, the subjects from so many DermTV episodes come from your questions, which are great. So please keep sending them in, and I'll keep answering as many of them as I can. Please join me again at dermtv.com. If you have a question, please send it to me by visiting dermtv.com/question. I'm Dr. Neil Schultz, and thank you for watching today.